Custer eventually then sends his second company down here along the trail, down near the end of the trail, a so-called basin area. So they're fighting there. Now, everything I'm telling you, this is going to take time to develop. Maybe an hour, maybe as long as an hour and a half, because it's going to take the warriors some time to disengage from fighting Reno, come back a couple of miles, get fresh ponies, but a lot of them come up here on foot because they start using guerrilla tactics up here. They're using the land to their advantage, the draws, pulleys, the ravines, all the natural vegetation. And if you look at old pictures of this battlefield, you'll see that the old pictures show the battlefield vegetation looked different years ago than it does now. Of course, there's no trees like there are around the cemetery and the visitor center coming up from the river down below. They're coming out maybe about 300 yards to my left out here in that area. Who comes riding up out of there with Crazy Horse? He begins riding back and forth by himself in front of various companies of soldiers, taunting them, daring them to try to shoot him. Every soldier that sees him opens up. Pow, 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 pow. No white man bullet ever hurt Crazy Horse. You can imagine how fired up the warriors have to be, how inspired they have to be by this display of bravery. I mean, they've already sent Reno and his men fleeing, killing again 40 of them, wounding another dozen or so. They know they got these soldiers up here outnumbered. And now you have one solitary warrior who seems to be, in their viewpoint, challenging the whole U.S. Army, and nobody can bring him down, has to fire up the warriors, has to really be kind of demoralizing to the soldiers, too. I mean, you're surrounded by Indians, and now you got one that's right in front of you, and nobody can bring him down. That has to be demoralizing as well. While this is going on, things are developing over on Calhoun Hill. I told you, one company is up. Out of the three companies, one company is up on Calhoun Hill on a skirmish line. He has to go take the high ground, fight warriors off the hill up here. They take the high ground, a place to rally his command. But what happens on Calhoun Hill? There's a skirmish line, as I told you. Did a great job holding warriors at bay this whole time. But when their comrades are fleeing for their lives, they change position to give covering fire, try to save the lives of their fleeing comrades. That leaves a pathway open so that hundreds of warriors, led by Gall, Two Moons, Crow King, He Dog, Low Dog, and others, they sweep up like a tidal wave over Calhoun Hill. Two Moons would say, we circled around the soldiers, swirling around them like water around a stone. All of a sudden, all tactical cohesion in the right wing begins to disintegrate. Now he's surrounded, he's completely badly outnumbered. The warrior accounts indicate he tried to remain proactive. About half, and again, fewer than 100 soldiers left alive. Half of them come charging off the hill, back down to the National Cemetery. They drive warriors back for a while. They dismount, form a skirmish line. Their horses are given some modicum of protection in this little drainage here to the right down here. Anywhere from 1 to 5 horsemen are seen leaving the hill up here. If it is as many as 5, maybe they're trying to divert the warriors away from these soldiers up here. Maybe they're just trying to get away and flee. Maybe Custer's trying to get one last message out for help. At this point, according to John Stands in Timber, Stands in Timber was a Cheyenne historian. Actually, he was the grandson of Lame White Man. I told you about Lame White Man leading that charge there a few moments ago. According to Stands in Timber, this is when the Suicide Boys move in. The Suicide Boys, according to Stands in Timber, is a group of 20 young Sioux and Cheyenne warriors, probably teenage boys. They had agreed to sacrifice their lives to protect the village. They lead this suicide attack. They stampede the horses, turned their attention to the skirmish line down that way. Of course, other warriors, inspired by their bravery, follow him, attacking these soldiers. The soldiers begin withdrawing. However orderly it may have started out, it soon turns into the same kind of panic we saw when Reno fled and when the right wing collapsed over there. Ironhawk, an Lakota warrior, said the soldiers were so scared that they thought they were running because they're moving their arms against their body, but actually they were just walking down the hill. They were firing their guns up into the air. 28 soldiers were left alive to make it down to the deep ravine. Again, this drainage down here. Actually, the last 28 men left alive in Custer's command died fighting in or fleeing through the deep ravine. But nobody drives 2,000 or 3,000 miles to talk about the deep ravine, right? You're all here because of what happened on this lonely, windswept hillside out in the middle of nowhere. Custer and the remnants of his shattered command, 40 soldiers left alive, in other words, about the same number of people as we have on the benches, seated on the benches here. They shoot and kill their horses, and we all make that last stand a legend in history. Why are we up there shooting our horses? No place to take cover, nothing to stop a bullet. You got to make breastworks. Custer knows that despite what you see in the movies, warriors don't traditionally make suicide attacks against a fortified position. And they don't here either. They go back to the guerrilla fighting. They're on their hands and knees or bellies, crawling up through the tall grass, raising up, firing a shot off, ducking back down. Soldiers by this point are probably pretty low on ammo anyhow. Any shot they fire, many of it goes harmlessly overhead because the warriors laying face down into the dirt. The soldiers, according to the warriors, they throw away their big guns, begin fighting with their little guns. Warriors are firing hundreds of arrows, silent death falling from the sky. Till suddenly, in the words of Wooden Leg's an 18-year-old Cheyenne warrior. He's fighting on a hill about 200 yards beyond the hill up in front of you. According to the Wooden Leg, the shots stop coming. Only then, hundreds of warriors sweep up over the hill. When it's over, Custer and all 210 men under his immediate command are wiped out in this 1 square mile area I've been telling you about. 53 others that had fought either in the valley or retreating or up on the siege site with Reno and Benteen. 53 are killed, 50 some are wounded, 5 of those later die of their wounds, so a total of 268 men who rode into battle with the soldiers that day died here. But remember, Custer started the day with 647 soldiers, scouts, quartermaster employees, and civilians, so that means 379 actually survived the battle, albeit 4 miles away. Native American casualty figures, nobody's ever going to know. Soon as the shooting stopped, the loved ones were up here removing the bodies of the dead and dying warriors, burying them according to family and tribal custom. Some were left in caves, some on scaffolds in trees, some in abandoned teepees down in the valley floor. No written records, everything's oral tradition, so nobody's ever going to have a precise knowledge. If you go across the street to the Indian Memorial, all the information in the Indian Memorial prepared by the Sioux, Cheyenne, and Arapaho tribes who fought Custer, as well as the Crow, who happened to be here that day, joined the Cheyenne and the Sioux in fighting the soldiers. In any event, the information there shows the names of 46 Sioux warriors that they know died here, 7 Cheyenne warriors, including Lame White Man, again, the warrior who I believe led the charge that really broke Custer's back up here. In any event, but nobody's ever going to really know for sure. What we do know is when it's over, the Native Americans have won their largest victory ever in the west of the Mississippi River, against any U.S. fighting force. They've also won their last victory against any U.S. fighting force, because as great and grand of a victory, well-deserved, well-earned, hard-earned victory as this was, a real high water mark in the Native American attempts to stop white westward expansion. I think tragically all Americans realize today, 146 years later, they won this great battle, this glorious battle, but in the process, they were losing everything. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Please join me in thanking all the veterans in our audience.